You are listening to the ADHD Support Talk Radio podcast. ADHD Support Talk Radio is sponsored by ADDclasses.com. Sign up now for a free webinar at www.addclasses.com. And this is your co-host, Tara McGillicuddy. And today I am sharing with you my interview with Laurie Dupar from the 2018 Succeed with ADHD Telesummit. You can learn more about the Succeed with ADHD Telesummit by going to ADHDTS.com. That's www.ADHDTS.com. And I'm going to be switching things around here where Laurie Dupar is actually going to be the one interviewing me. And I talked about understanding and clearing ADHD energetic blocks.
To welcome Tara McGillicuddy to the Telesummit, and we're going to be talking today, or I said she's going to be talking today, and I'm going to be asking questions about understanding and clearing ADHD energetic blocks. Welcome, Tara.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be back this year speaking and sponsoring this amazing event. So thank you so much, Laurie, for producing it again this year.
Well, thank you for your support. You know, it wouldn't be our Telesummit without you on it, so I'm excited that you're here. And what a wonderful and an interesting topic for us that you brought to us this year about energetic blocks. So I wonder if we can just start, Tara, by sharing with us a little bit more about what are energetic blocks and how do they relate to ADHD?
Well, we're all made up of energy. Everything's made up of energy. But energy isn't really something concrete that we can see. And the ADHD support community, we have so much information, so much support around the mind, around the body, so physical and mental support and education. But there's not anything or very little surrounding energy. And you know, there's psychological blocks, there's physical types of blockages, but energetic blocks, we all have them. I mean, everyone has them, but people with ADHD have them also. And I kind of like to compare it to something we all know, like our plumbing. For example, sometimes, you know, take your bathtub or your shower, sometimes the drain gets blocked because here it gets clogged in it, physical things get clogged in it, and the shower or the water does not flow as well as it should. So that's what I consider an energetic block to be somewhat like is a block, you know, when it comes to plumbing or your car or oil in your car or something like that.
Yeah. So when we talk, I love how you sort of identified that we talk a lot about the brain, we talk a lot about behavior, we talk a lot about the body. What types and the energy and what do people notice, for instance? What would they notice if they were experiencing some sort of energetic block? Like, what would they notice?
A big one, being overwhelmed and feeling stuck. Those are two signs that there's an energetic block. And I think all of us, most of us who have ADD or ADHD can totally relate to that. And also being tired, being anxious. I mean, all of the negative types of emotions, physical, you know, blocks and emotions are just everyday things that a lot of us are feeling or dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
And when it might be a block is, you know, when you've tried just about everything else. You've tried all the time management techniques. You've, you know, tried the psychological stuff, the coaching. And because a lot of people try everything, and there's almost like there's this invisible wall that's up blocking people or slowing them down, and it could actually be an energetic block or related to some type of energetic block.
Mm-hmm. Now, when I think of energetic, I love that because that makes so much sense. You're right. And I'm thinking, yeah, there's that overwhelm. There's that place where we've tried other things and we really do want to move forward or not be overwhelmed, and we're just not able to do it, or we feel fatigued or just nervous, anxious all the time. When we're talking about, so when we talk about sort of the energy in our body, is it just that sense of being able to move through the world? Is it how we express ourselves? how do you sort of define what someone's energy is?
I think it's all of the above and more. And everything's connected. The energy is connected to your mind, to your body, to your world. So it's all connected. It's not like it's all separate. It's like a circle that goes around. Everything's connected. And when you have a negative experience psychologically, that affects your energy. Or if you have some negative, or not even negative energy, just not great energy coming into your life, that can affect you physically and psychologically. So it's all connected. It's not like it's something that you're going to look at that's brand new. It's more than likely something that's already affecting you.
And it's interesting to me, and one of the reasons I was really glad that you're coming on and talking about this is because we can have sort of looked at all of the things that might be getting us stuck in the way that we think, right? The stuff that's going on in our head, or the way that we're doing things sort of systematically, I guess, with ADHD. But sometimes there's sort of this undefined thing that just prevents us, or like you said, sort of keeps us stuck, has us feeling overwhelmed. And I'm wondering what kinds of things might contribute. I don't know if it's more. Maybe that's something you can answer. Is it more energetic blocks for people with ADHD?
I don't know if it's necessarily more, but some of us with ADHD, we're also empaths. So we pick up on other people's energy, other energy from other things, and we're almost like sponges or magnets. So that's something where it might be just be more intense. The blocks, I don't know if they're more, but sometimes we feel them more. And there is some research that shows people with ADHD or ADHD type behaviors are more likely to be empaths. There's been research that shows empaths have issues with executive functioning and things like that. So it's not necessarily says, oh, if you had ADHD, you're an empath, but there is some research showing that. So if we're, just kind of picking up and absorbing other people's energy because we're empaths, we're gonna feel those. We're gonna have more energy blocks, or we're gonna feel them more intensely.
Yeah. I know some of when we're talking about this, one of the things, because I am a big believer that there's things that we just can't touch or feel that impact our life. And when I'm talking about these kinds of things, Tara, I always like to remind people that I'm a scientist by nature, right? That is my background as a nurse practitioner. I'm very much of a scientist, and yet over and having that background and wanting to, sort of have proof of things, I see this over and over and over again. And truly the only way to explain it is what you've just done, is to say that for whatever reason, there tends to be a high number of people with ADHD. There's I don't know if we absorb other people. We don't go around saying, give me your energy, but that there's sort of there's this ability to pick up on that. And one of the examples that I see this a lot happening in is, whether it's in workplaces or like classroom settings, are people going either into work and really being excited about the day, and then they'll just they'll say, I just felt like this brick wall hit me, right? Like something wasn't quite right? And they don't want to feel that. They want to have a great day, but there's something that they're just feeling. Or students will have prepared for an exam, go in and sit down to take a test, and what they tell me over and over again is that I get there and all of a sudden I start to feel super nervous. And go ahead.
They're picking up everybody else's anxiety and energy in the classroom setting, and 20-something, 50-something people, that makes total sense now.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And and again, if we don't know, one of the things that we know that happens when people have ADHD is we don't necessarily realize that somebody else doesn't go through the world like this, right? We don't realize that they're not picking up on this, right? We start to look at ourselves and say, what's wrong with us? But like I said, I see this happen over and over and over with people. And the way that you describe it, sort of saying that it's like, it's that it's very common for people. And when that's true, very common for people with ADHD to have that ability to absorb or to take on or to sense other people's energy or the mood or whatever it is, that it's just the way that they know. They go, oh my God, I've always been like that, right? I remember that going back. Is that what's, and it doesn't occur to them that maybe people with ADHD don't have it. So that's part of what you're talking about, that because there's that tendency to be more empathic. I mean, it has wonderful qualities that go along with it. It makes us very caring, very people, that kind of thing. But what other things contribute to this energetic block? So this empathic ability.
We're also, those of us with ADD and ADHD are more likely to kind of tune things out or not be mindful of things. Like, we think we have white noise on in the background, like we'll have the TV on or some show or even music, and we doing that, I don't say allow because we don't really choose it, but negative energy or energy can come in when we're kind of tuning people out or not as mindful. So being mindful is really important to not allow or to not let in as much negativity or energetic blocks or energy in. So that's one of the things that's different for people with ADHD as opposed to people without ADHD is we're not always present. We're not always mindful of what we're allowing into our life, and we're not even processing, okay, the news was just on and some crazy negative things just happened, or if somebody's boring us or we're kind of tuning somebody out because they're negative, we're still picking up on that energy. That energy is coming in. Maybe we're not, processing it in our brains, but it's still coming at us.
Yeah. Absolutely. And part of that is, I'm wondering, also sort of physiological, right? We know that it's harder to filter out that extraneous stuff, which is why we can feel overwhelmed. And so it's not just the noise that we hear, but also this could also be filtering out, like you said, some of that underlying mood or underlying energy that we may not even be aware of that could be subtly sort of impacting us and building up kind of thing.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. And anything else that contributes to this, to the energetic blocks for people with ADHD?
Just being human beings and being around, because sometimes people with ADHD, the type of job they choose, like we have people who are EMTs who like to help people. I don't know if that's getting back to the empath part, but sometimes we get excited by negative things or so that's another thing, our makeup, wanting to get in and help people or, have something exciting and stimulating. Isn't always positive. So that's another thing that people with ADHD, it's really important to be aware of.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. A lot of people with ADHD are attracted to jobs that may be a little bit, like you said, it's not that they might be more dangerous, but the element is a little bit more risky. And sometimes that is not always sort of a positive thing, where it creates that kind of subtle underlying, that stress or I know when I was working as a nurse, I remember thinking, all the things that those nurses go through on a daily basis, like, oh my gosh, and we were sort of expected just to handle it, and it's like, it was a lot. I felt like it was this big boulder I was carrying around, and I think maybe that's what I was noticing. I thought, how do people process this? And not that there wasn't wonderful moments, but there's sometimes a lot of pain that people were in. As when you're doing that kind of stuff, and how can you not be affected by that, right? Yeah, and the jobs that people are attracted to might be high risk or higher stress, like you said, sometimes including other people's pain or that kind of thing. So being a human being, right? Anything else that about ADHD and what might contribute to those energetic blocks?
I mean, I just think sometimes the fact that we've failed things so many times and our negative experiences also contribute to it. Okay,
yeah. The negative, I think before we were talking about this, I know that there's, our Western medicine has a very different understanding of this, but I know we don't know everything about ADHD, and that a lot of the more Eastern medicines, really appreciate sort of the flow that happens in the body. And I can't help but notice when, and like you said, there can be so many negative experiences that people with ADHD have trying to fit into that box or that role that we think we're supposed to. So you really think that contributes to some of this?
Oh, definitely. Yes.
Gosh. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. And that certainly, I think, is, I know when we consider how common it is to have depression or anxiety or low self-esteem or sense of failure, all those things, those develop as a result of all those negative experiences. And what you're saying is that it really, it's not just in our head, it may show up in our body, and it shows up in sort of that energy, what we bring to the world or what's available to us. Would that be the way to say it?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. So I guess, is this a good time to switch sort of to how do we prevent or clear these energetic blocks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there are a lot of things we can do to prevent it, minimize it, and clear it out. And what I started talking a little bit about before is being mindful and choosy of who and what you allow into your life. Minimizing the negativity with the news, with the people, having good boundaries with people and technology and all that can really minimize or prevent some energetic blocks. So that's a big one, the self-care, the boundaries. But also, there's an exercise that a lot of people use that they find helpful is before you go out in the world, or even in this day and age, a lot of us, connect with technology, is to put somewhat of a energetic bubble or even like an egg shape around you to act as a shield or a filter for the energy coming in. And it's as simple as picturing it around you or intending it to put around you. Because I know sometimes people with ADHD, somebody will say, oh, visualize this, picture this, and our brain shuts down and we can't do it. But just putting that intention out there to put up a bubble. I do a bubble because a bubble's wider, but some people will picture like an egg or an oval around them. And you can picture it however you like, whether it's a clear thing with, sparkly things or something green or blue. It all depends on, what you want to do. But that's putting out that intention and maybe picturing it to be like arm's length around you. But then, if you're someplace and you're like, oh, okay, I'm really picking up on a lot of stuff, or I'm feeling a headache, or my throat's closing up, or I have a stomach ache, you might want to visualize or intend to push that bubble or that egg out even further. And that's something, before you interact with a group of people, or even check your email, because in this day and age, technology, we're connected to everything. So we're getting bombarded with other people's energy, even if we don't leave our houses.
So when you say check your technology, what do you mean?
Well, before you get on technology. So before you open your email, before you interact with somebody, put that bubble of a shield or a filter. I don't like to use the word protection. I like to use more of like a filter around you.
Okay, filter. And the filter is I'm just I'm imagining kind of what that would do, but it to sort of intentionally filter out the negative energy coming in?
Yeah, almost like a water filter. Like, when you filter your water, the water goes through it, the good stuff goes through it, but it filters out the negative stuff or the stuff that's not good for you. So, some people might say, okay, I want a bubble around me that doesn't have a filter, but just that type of tool to be able to use. And another one is we have an auric field around us. And when we go out, if we say, okay, my field is only going to be like 3 feet in front of me, so you're not picking up other people's things and that intention. Also, if you have a negative interaction with somebody, or you just watch the news and you feel sick to your stomach, you can visualize cutting an energetic cord between you and the person you talk to, you and the people. And that's as simple as, again, if you can't see it, that's fine. Just kind of intend it. Sometimes I'll take my hand and kind of actually physically, chop it or cut it. So those are things. Yeah. So there are things like that.
Yeah. You said something about a field. What did you call that?
It's an energetic or field, which it's not concrete, but it's kind of hard to, so some people might not grasp the concept, but it's just this energy field around us. And what we do is we kind of push our own energy out to other people, and then it comes back at us. And I'm telling you, my field used to be out probably like football fields out there. And
really?
I'd go into a store and I'd almost have panic attacks. And I was actually going to a clearing group a few years ago, and we did this exercise where we were in this hallway, and the woman who was leading it was like, okay, we're gonna try this exercise. As soon as somebody starts walking towards you, let me know when you feel uncomfortable. And everyone else, it was like they were probably 3 or 4 feet. Mine was like probably yards ahead. So my field, because I never knew I had an energetic auric field, so I was picking up on other people's stuff. It was almost like my sponge was like, yards and yards away. So before you go out and interact with people, set the intention to put it out a couple of feet in front of you, and again, you can play around with what's best for you. So those are things which might sound weird and crazy to some people, but they can actually be very helpful.
I'm wondering, as you're talking, sort of a little bit of sort of reverse stuff, I'm wondering sort of where people might notice this. So not only do I notice that, and again, didn't have words for it until sort of the discussion started to talk around, and, this sort of experience of picking up on other people's moods is how I called it, but it is really an energy. It's like something that you can't quite put your finger on. You just notice it. The other thing I'm wondering, Tara, about this is that I also hear people share the experience a lot with ADHD where people will come up to them a lot. And I'm wondering, and I notice that. My kids sometimes joke with me. They'll say, Mom, you just make friends everywhere. And I'll be in a store, and people will come up to me and just start talking to me. And not in a bad way. I love meeting new people. It's one of my favorite things to do. I adore it. But it happens uncannily a lot. Is that?
Yes.
What is that about?
Yes, that's almost like your energy might be too far out there. You're almost like a beacon energetically to these people, not that they are processing that when they come to you. So that might be, if that happens. And some people love to do that. Some people love to talk to everyone. That's great. But some of us, like I'm an introvert. When I go shopping, food shopping, I want to get my stuff, get out of there, and get away from people. But I will have the cashier telling me their life story, So you can kind of pull your energy in. So that's related to it. And then there's chakras, which are a whole nother discussion. That might be something for people to look up. I mean, your chakra might be open too much, that type of thing, but that's like a whole nother discussion. But yes, people with ADHD, that's very common.
Yeah, it is. I hear that a lot from either clients or students at the training center. They're like, what is that? So my sense is that as we're talking here, that it has something to do with it. It sort of has to do with our recognizing that they're about setting a boundary or being able, and I know you said you don't like the sense of sort of protecting ourselves, but of being able to say, okay, this is my space, right? This is my zone. Is kind of how I think about it, right? Like, this is my zone here. In here. Yes. It's okay to say that, is what you're saying.
It's definitely okay to say that. And in some situations, you need to be very strong and say it and get out of the situation. But, it's okay to say that and practice self-care and take care of yourself.
Yeah. So any other ways that we can prevent or clear some of these energetic blocks?
Yes. One that we all do every day is taking a shower or a bath. Water clears your energetic field, and especially if you get in there and put that intention in when you get in the shower or the bath or swimming, whatever, if you put that intention out there, I want to clear my energy. But I know I've talked to a lot of people who, when they're taking a shower in the morning or night, sometimes people with ADHD have their most creative, innovative ideas while they're in the shower. And part of that is related to the fact that it's clearing away the gook and energetic debris. I mean, it's also a conductor, and there's also other reasons too, but simply getting into water, and salt water is even more beneficial, like the ocean, or even like a salt scrub or a salt bath, like a Himalayan salt bath. People pay hundreds of dollars to go to spas and take those, and you can just, pour it into your own bath, buy some. But that's one that people don't realize. Water is, And if you notice, like some people, like if you notice, sometimes you'll say you're traveling and you go to the airport, and you don't necessarily touch a lot of things in the airport. There's some weird things that you touch. But especially when I've gone to conferences, I've talked to people, especially those with ADHD, and I just have to take a shower as soon as I get to my hotel room. And part of it is because look at all the energy, all the people that have gone through the airport. People are stressed out, all that crazy stuff. So that's almost just as simple. And, so you might want to think, okay, maybe it makes sense to take a shower in the evening after I get home from work as opposed to in the morning, or maybe, add another one, or a bath in that spa, that bubble bath. That's just not you pampering yourself. That's actually clearing out some of the energetic blocks and getting, the energetic gook off of you.
Wow. I have to laugh when you say that, because it's like I sometimes joke and say, when I really want to have a great idea, I call it a shower moment, right? Like I'll have the best ideas in the shower. And I'm a huge one about I love baths. I'm a big, huge bath taker. I love the water. But I didn't realize that. But that makes, again, sometimes we don't really see the connection but what you're saying makes a lot of sense. It's more than just sort of cleaning your skin. It feels very refreshing. And in fact, I know one of the techniques that people use if they can't sort of get in a physical shower is to sort of just imagine, water sort of cleansing them off. So a true shower. So I love that. So taking a shower, getting in water. Anything else? What else?
Getting out in nature and grounding yourself. Like even if you can't get out into nature, you can stand up, do like an exercise where you feel your feet touching the ground. Picture or intend that roots are going out through the ground and connecting into nature. And you know how they call people like tree huggers? Literally going outside and hugging a tree, that will ground you. That will clear out some of the negative energy. And then there are energetic clearings that people who are trained in Reiki and other healing modalities can do. So there are lots of things. And most of the ones I talked about are ones that you can do yourself, but just simply putting that intention out there and saying, clear my blocks, clear my energy. Just becoming mindful of it and saying, I'm going to clear my energy, can clear my energy.
Yeah. When you said about the nature, right, we certainly know a lot of people with ADHD, and we see this in kids a lot too, is that there's such a grounding, it's almost a natural environment. And I wonder if it's because, and I mean, I know this may sound there's an energy in nature that people definitely pick up on, and it maybe it's a pure sort of nature, but I would imagine that would be very true. It's like just sort of reconnecting with something that is rooted and grounded and has that pureness to it. And I love that that your suggestion or your comment about we can also set an intention. If we don't have a tree right there next to us, we can, can't hop off to take a shower. We can even just mentally sort of imagine that, and that might help be able to start clearing some of that or breaking some of that up, possibly, right?
Yeah. And just stopping and taking a few deep breaths and putting that intention. I'm going to clear the energetic blocks. I'm going to clear the negative. And it doesn't necessarily have to be negative energy, just energy that doesn't belong to you, that's not mine. Take a few deep breaths in and out, put your hand over your heart, and put that intention that you're clearing the energy. Yeah.
And the thing is not all of these, but even as you're saying about the deep breathing, right, if we physiologically, we know what happens is we're actually exchanging certain kind of oxygen and getting rid of other byproducts, the CO2, and it's something that's recommended anyway. And it's interesting that a lot of that that people may not really understand that in addition to sort of the reason it's relaxing you is that you're clearing that by doing that breathing. And it seems to me it could be even more powerful if you had that intention for it to clear at the same time, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, wow. Well, Tara, you and I could go on and on, right, with this, because
I know.
this is something that is really very interesting, and I think you said just something we talk about a lot or have at all with ADHD, and there's so much of this that applies. But I'm wanting to make sure that people have a way to connect with you, because I know they're going to want to, and then I want to also have you tell them about the Success Kit bonus that you've included, which is actually a great follow-up to this. So what's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
The best way to get in touch with me is to go to my ADDclasses.com website. There's a contact page there.
Great. ADDclasses.com. That's how you can get in touch with Tara to follow up with this. And then tell us a little bit about the Success Kit bonus gift that you're offering to people who upgrade for the ADHD Success Kit, Tara.
Yeah, I'm actually offering a 5-session clearing package. So what we're going to do, they're on-demand sessions where you can clear energetic blocks, and I have one specifically for time management, one specifically for organizing, one for clutter, one for productivity, and one for success at work. And those are on demand. You don't have to have a session with me. You can do it at your own time. And those are 5 of the big issues that people come to coaches for about ADHD, which people have blocks. I mean, those are big ones. So it's something new and different, and I think it will really help people if they do an energetic block clearing session.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for that, and I love that you really have hit some of the very big areas, and there are specific ones for those to help sort of address some of the blocks that we have around some of those other areas. And like you said at the beginning, if you've done everything else and you're still going, why can't I get past this? Absolutely. I encourage everyone to go ahead and upgrade for the Success Kit, along with all the other bonuses you've been hearing about with our Telesummit speakers. You'll be getting Tara's 5-session clearing package that you can listen to around all of these topics. So thank you, Tara. That's a very generous gift. I appreciate that. And I want to thank you also for being a sponsor of the Succeed with ADHD Telesummit. We couldn't do it without you. You're a huge, huge, huge supporter of our ability to be able to put this on every year. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. And all of you out there, make sure you stay tuned, because you know there's a lot more coming, and we're excited to be sharing it with you. Thank you again, Tara. Thank you all for joining us. Stay tuned. You know there's more. And until then, stay amazing, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.